Theo, look, they're saying feed me. Let's go feed them, okay? Come on, Theo, let's go get the food. Come on, buddy. Let's go feed the goats. Come on, come on, come on.
Theodore and Talia are twins.
We'll be right back, Tally.
They are Caroline Antoon's greatest loves after surviving one of life's greatest losses.
Tally girl, come on.
Caroline asked us not to show their faces.
It's a joy getting to be their mom and to watch them grow up and yeah.
Motherhood came after multiple miscarriages. Fertility struggles can take a toll on a marriage, and it's one reason Caroline's crumbled after the babies were born. Her divorce went to trial in a Denton County court June 29, 2022. 5 days earlier, the Supreme Court had struck down Roe v. Wade. What could an abortion rights decision possibly have to do with a Denton County divorce?
We said the laws are going to change, so let's be mindful of that.
According to Caroline,
so I keep this on my desk.
Everything.
These are Talia and Theodore. I don't know which is which.
In vitro fertilization, or IVF, means eggs are fertilized by sperm in a lab first and then implanted in a uterus.
You have to stay by mommy. We can walk this way.
In this case, IVF produced 2 healthy babies and 3 other embryos that Caroline and her then husband decided to freeze, in case they wanted more kids. Clinics require a contract before IVF begins, spelling out what will happen to frozen embryos if there's a divorce or if the mother or father dies. When their IVF began, Caroline signed this contract. It gave the frozen embryos to her ex. Now she says she did not understand the gravity of this document.
I'd had 4 miscarriages and was just in a really desperate place. And
the judge handling her divorce gave her ex the embryos, treating them like any other piece of property, because that's what Texas law considers them, property. But Caroline is appealing the judge's decision, claiming because of the timing of her divorce, the embryos are not property, they're people.
With Texas being a trigger law state that was very clearly defined life as beginning at fertilization, and frozen embryos is a fertilized egg.
What kind of questions would you ask the witness?
SMU law professor Seema Mohapatra is one of the nation's leading experts in IVF law.
Are frozen embryos considered property in the state of Texas?
Yes, frozen embryos are considered property in Texas, just like any other kinds of personal property, like your car.
Did the overturning of Roe versus Wade and the Texas trigger law impact that in any way?
No.
That doesn't match up at all.
The Texas law banning abortions defines an unborn child as from fertilization until birth, including the entire embryonic stages. Mohapatra says that definition applies to embryos in a womb, not in a lab.
I think that is probably the next step.
She expects Texas lawmakers to consider expanding it, but that would come with risks. Efforts to treat embryos as people could expose IVF doctors to prosecution because they routinely discard embryos that aren't viable.
So we've seen in Louisiana and Mississippi, 2 states where personhood provisions were proposed. One of the reasons they fell was because these doctors said, we're going to leave the area and no one in your state is going to have access to this kind of care.
Nothing can happen to Caroline Antoon's frozen embryos while she appeals.
How can we take a woman's rights away from her children without due cause? That seems unimaginable to me. It's very un-Texan to me.
The divorce is final.
Open the door.
But life as a mom
Okay, right, Talia girl, come on.
is far from settled. In Denton, I'm Teresa Woodard.